Just making sure I'm recording. So, I've been doing a lot of thinking during quarantine, and if any of you guys do listen to my stuff, or if you don't, I mentioned like in the previous post, when I did my last podcast, I had said that I wanted to, that I was holding onto a story. And because you need content for these things. You just don't talk shit. Even though that's what I like doing. But I was gonna share a story with you guys. So I was holding it, for content purposes. Because what if I don't do anything? Because I don't do much. I'm kind of a recluse, which this has worked out so in my favor this quarantine. Even though it's been horrible. Because so many people are going through stuff. But in the sense of me staying home and keeping everybody safe, I'm doing it. So anyways, I had this story that I was holding for you guys, and I held it so long it's a little too late because I don't even know if it's relevant anymore. As you saw by the title of this particular podcast, I want to say video because I'm more posting it on YouTube than doing podcasts, but whatever. There's like somebody on YouTube who says, oh, I do podcasts. Not once, not anywhere can you find their streaming other podcasts. So I guess some people are confusing YouTube for radio stuff. Well, who cares? I did post one on SoundCloud, so I am doing my due diligence slowly but surely. But anywho, so as the title of this episode, let's say episode because it could be for video or podcast. It's called Never Show Up on Time to a Party. Not that anybody needs that advice right now because no one's going to a party. But I digress. I'm still going to tell you my story because that's what we're living off nowadays, right? Stories. So I got a good one for you. And it's a good one. It's a good story because it's mildly pathetic. So due to the story, you'll be like, no wonder this bitch doesn't go out a lot. So, check this out. I was invited to an event. And the guy who invited me, he was like, oh, here's the RSVP. It was very short notice, by the way. He was in town, and he's like, oh, look, I'm going to do this. Come through. He gives me the information to RSVP because remember, he was performing at the event. It wasn't his event. So I had to RSVP. And he gave me all the information, the address, everything. He was really, really solid fella. So he gives me the info. Remember, this was like mad short notice. So I go ahead and do my part. I RSVP. I get no response. Why am I telling you this? Because this kind of validates as to why I showed up on time to a party. So anyhow, yeah, I do my RSVP thingamajiggers, and I don't get a response like, oh, confirmed, you're coming. So me being the neurotic person that I am, I was like, oh shit, how embarrassing would it be to go to the party? Hold on. Oh, fuck. Oh my god, something is happening. That's something. I also do music. La 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 la. And there's like a recording session going on. Not with me, but it's on my other laptop. And somehow I'm privy to it, which that will be discussed. As to why am I? That's another story. But anyhow, I just lowered the volume on it. Yeah. So, where was I? So, I never get a response. So, in my neurotic mind, I'm like, I need to go on time to this, event. Because what if I go and there's like people behind me and I'm like, oh, I'm on the list. And then who's ever at the door might be like, bitch, you ain't. Get to Stephens. So to avoid embarrassment, I was like, I'm going to go on time. So if I'm not on the list, because remember, I RSVP'd, I never got confirmation. It would be easy to say so and so invited me, you can go ahead and get them, because you know it's not packed, it just started. And the other reason I had for going on time and being punctual, besides manners, was because it was in the city, so I didn't know how traffic, you know, was gonna be a factor, an issue. So I'm like, you know, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. I wasn't. No. Now I know why. Now I know why Lions don't show up on time at a party. Because it is the worst thing to go to a party and you're literally the first one at the party. Of course, that was me. And to add insult to injury, I didn't bring somebody. So these are like unwritten rules. Again, me with my brilliant ideas. What was my last idea? Baby masks, which I think is probably like a health hazard somehow. And what's my second idea? Maybe I should write a book about fucking etiquette nowadays. Yeah, I think I also bitched in another one of my famous episodes that everybody watches. But I had bitched about texting at a proper time with a friend of mine. So I don't know if I went into detail with that, but that was the gist about as to why her and I got into a disagreement. But whatever. Let's go to this one. Etiquette. I was being polite, right? Don't matter in today's days and age. Because I did not get brownie points with this guy. Because think about it. I show up on time, bro. Nobody's there. Just the waiters, the bartenders, the people who take care of the shit, and his band. So I'm not gonna like go hang around while his band's setting up. The guy that invited me, he does some other stuff, but he also is a performer. That's not his main gig, but this is a side hustle thing. I don't even know if it's a hustle. It's more of like legit a hobby. He does very well. So whatever. So his band's setting up. Can you imagine me lingering with my drink? Hey, how are you? Like, you're supposed to talk when the room's crowded, there's noise, it's cool. Not when it's awkward and quiet and people are setting up. So I'm not like his buddy, remember. He just invited me. He thought I would be a normal human being. So I didn't want to act like I was sweating him. I said my hellos. I noticed he was busy. He's setting up. So I'm like, where the fuck do I hide? So I'm not leaning against a wall like a weirdo. Again, now I know why people bring people to a party. But it was at a time when it was like people were getting out of work. None of my friends were going to go. And also a weekday. You know how women are. It has to be planned. I don't care if somebody's like, no, don't judge women. Stop it. I've hung around enough women to know. They gotta know in advance so they can get pretty. It can't be on a weekday. It has to be a little later. You know what I'm talking about. Anybody who disagrees with me, it's like, stop. Don't even. So, and nobody who'd go with me, and I'm not gonna miss this opportunity. This was like great. Like, this person's not from town, and they're going to a place, and I'm like, hey, what's good? So, I go ahead and go. I'm feeling awkward, so I'm like, what do? I go to the kitchen, because I've waitressed and bartended before, so I'm very familiar with my peeps, So I go to the kitchen, and I'm like, can I hang out here? Because, I didn't want him to see me hanging against the wall like a dork. I wanted it to look like I'm doing something. So maybe if I'm out of sight, it looks like I'm busy. Like, when people smoke and they gotta go outside? Like, they're just going out to smoke, but they look busy. They're like, I gotta smoke. So I felt I could go to the kitchen, charge my phone. And, I started talking to the wait staff. They were so nice, essentialworkersarethe.bomb.com. And it got to the point where I was like, shit, should I help them cut limes? Like, I was like, I didn't want to be like intrusive. I was like, I'm going to start helping out and start serving food or something, But you know, I let them do what they did. Whatever. It was very awkward. The party started getting full, and which I was drinking a lot because the drinks were complimentary, open bar, very nice party, very nice shindig. And I was already like halfway there, you know. The party was getting more full, but not full enough. So I was still hanging out in the kitchen. It got to the point where my friends, the friends I had made, the wait staff was like, the party's starting to get busy. We're gonna have to ask you to leave the kitchen. My peeps were like, you got to get. Man, I'm at a fucking party and I'm hanging out in the kitchen. I know, I'm sorry. Bad social skills here. I mean, I have good social skills, but I was caught off guard with the whole anxiety of being a dork because I was the first one there, so I didn't want to be like the greeter at the door. Welcome to my party. You know, I was just like, I wanted to like show up and step out of the kitchen like I've arrived. I just showed up. And I have been here for 3 hours until everybody else showed up. So whatever, I had to leave the kitchen, stop charging my phone. You know, I started to mingle. I started doing my things. Then when it was finally full, I got to talk to the guy that invited me. He was so beautiful. He's a dog lover, an avid dog lover. He spoke to me and gave me encouraging words about my dog. He told me, because if you see also my earlier posts, the reason I started these videos is because my dog passed away. So it's been therapeutic just to talk to like the dead air. You know, if somebody listens to this, so be it. But I'm not doing it for like the fame or the subscribers, clearly, because I have none. So this is just, believe it or not, immensely therapeutic, and I'm thankful that I could giggle and talk to a microphone and whatever. If I help one person smile, or what if I don't cheer people up? What if people are like, shit, I thought I had no friends. This bitch is talking to like a camera with no one watching. So whatever you take from these videos, you know, so be it. But again, from this particular episode, I do want you to take the advice of the title. Please do. Because you don't want to end up like me. Because I made all these strives to make a new friend, you know, this freaking guy. And I wasn't interested in him romantically. No. It was strictly like, hey, you know? But whatever, like I said, he was uber nice. He gave me advice about my dog, like how to cope with the loss. And then when he sang a song that he wrote to one of his doggies when they passed away. And like he looked at me and I done felt the connects, you know? That was really sweet. He sang that, you know, it was really sweet. But blah 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 blah. I have a good time at the party. Was what it was. Story ends. We still are each other's Instagram buddies. But guess what? I know you don't care about this, but I do. Because Instagram's very important now, peeps. You know what it is. You know what time it is. So in the past, I used to, if I liked a picture of his, I would either like it or make a comment. And what's the proper thing to do? He would always like either like my comment or something. Guess what, guys? I don't get no little heart like. You know how like you click on the little heart, like you like it on Instagram? Now when I write like, hey, awesome pic or whatever, I get no likey backers. So what's my lesson, guys? Never show up to a party on time. I bet you he realized what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? I just invited her to a party and she's here harassing the waitstaff, you know? He's like, she gets no likes no more, and she gets invited no more to nowhere. So, look at all the neurotic shit I did. You might not think it's a big deal, but I'm sure the waitstaff thought it was a big deal. So look at all that can transpire from showing up on time to a party. So the lesson and the moral of the story is, don't do it. Do not show up on time to a party. Again, I don't know if we'll ever party anymore because of this quarantine stuff. Because even when quarantine's over, are people still going to have get-togethers? It's going to be mad awkward. And if we do we got to wear the masks? Again, my story comes a little too late. My apologies. If you know what time it is. I do one of these little episodes every like 5 months, which is so horrible because it's like I have the time, but it's how I work. It's a big mess up here. So again, I was holding this story. I should have let out this story sooner because this story happened clearly a couple of months ago, not during these times. But a little too late with my message. So I don't even know if you guys needed to hear that message, but here it is. Do what you will with it. I have more stories. I might also give out a story at an inadequate time, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll be back, and thank you for listening or not. Whatever, this was fun. Adios. Where's the stop button?